to have him around. You know, I call him El Doctor because he's such a great human being, and we all love him, and we all appreciate that, the work that he had done throughout the years, especially beginning his career as a Dominican fellow. And it's a quiet honor, man. I mean, every time I see him with a big smile, you know, and it's good to see him healthy also, and we're going to have a blast just to know that he's around.
Jennifer, right down here. Evan, front row.
David, primero que nada, obviamente felicidades. Gracias por todo lo que has hecho por la prensa que está aquí. Tú eres gran parte de nuestra carrera, así que gracias. Tú te has puesto a pensar, un hombre negro, latino, de la República Dominicana, se convirtió en la cara de la franquicia de los Red Sox y una de las personas más adoradas en el béisbol. Cuando tú piensas en eso y cuando hablamos de temas de raza, que tú eres una de las figuras más grandes en un deporte manejado por anglos, descríbeme eso.
Primeramente, saludo, mi amor, un placer. Tú sabes que te quiero mucho. ¿Qué te digo? Tú sabes que el béisbol es un deporte que al final del día, no importa de dónde tú vengas, no importa país, color, hubieron tiempos difíciles donde de donde tú venías, las cosas se complicaban. Yo hablo mucho con Luis Tian, esa gente que jugaron para allá, para los 60, 70, y era un poco complicado la situación con ellos. Él me hace muchos cuentos que muchas veces como equipo iban a lugares y por ser latinos, ser negros, no tenían esa permisibilidad de poder accesar a lugares y cosas así. Yo me imagino lo difícil y lo complicado que eso debió ser. Gracias a Dios, ellos marcaron esa pauta para que nosotros en estos tiempos nos vivamos esas experiencias. Y ¿qué te digo? Yo jugué en una ciudad que yo oigo mucha gente hablar de lo que se llama el racismo y cosas así. Yo nunca, gracias a Dios, viví una experiencia ahí. Al contrario, en Boston, nosotros lo que hicimos fue como que reagrupar a la gente, no importa qué raza, color o nacionalidad tú seas, y eso ha tenido una respuesta muy buena. Yo muchas veces, cuando voy a lugares allá en Boston, la gente nos dice, ustedes no abrieron muchas puertas a nosotros porque los trabajos, la gente que antes no tenía no nos daba esos permisos para nosotros acceder a cosas o accesar a cosas. Ahora, después de esa época de ustedes que vinieron y cambiaron esas normas, ahora es como una misma familia y el mundo va evolucionando y a eso hay que darle su oportunidad.
Down front here.
David, buenas tardes. Primer impacto, Despierta América. Primeramente, felicidades por este gran logro. Cuéntanos de la adrenalina que tú sientes en el día de hoy y qué tú crees te diría tu madre en un momento como este.
Bueno, primeramente un saludo a mi gente de Primer Impacto, el Gordo y la Flaca, Univisión entera, Despierta América. Un saludo a todos ustedes. Ustedes saben que somos toda una familia, los quiero mucho. Y, ¿qué te digo? Tú sabes que mañana va a ser un día muy especial porque en realidad es un día de la familia. Y, ¿qué te digo? Tomaría yo que todo el mundo quisiera, tú sabes, en oportunidades así, tener su familia. Yo, gracias a Dios, voy a tener la mía ahí. ¿Y qué te digo? Siempre pensando en mi mamá, yo siempre fui una persona muy cercana a ella. Y nada, pedirle a Dios.
Duke, down front over here. Evan, yeah, Evan, bring it over here to Duke in the red. In the red, right there.
Duke Castiglione,
That's my boy right there.
WCBB Boston. David, congratulations. What did the city of Boston mean to your career? I mean, think back to 2003, coming here, and what did Pedro Martinez mean to your career?
Wow. Last night I was with my compadre in Blatty at my house, just having a good time, you know. Pedro is he's a big brother, you know that. Me and Pedro, we go way back. We have so many memories together. And last night, he was basically giving me a speech, telling me what to do tomorrow and how I want to handle the business, you know. And but the most important thing, he just don't want me to lose my focus, you know. He want me to be Big Papi now. Boston, my second home, man. I mean, I can talk about Boston all day. Boston, I got so many things that I can say about Boston, but Boston embraced me, and as much as the Dominican Republic means something to me special, Boston is pretty much out there.
Look him back there with the orange credential, his hand up.
Lavelle O'Neill, Minneapolis Star-Tribune. What's up, Big O?
What's up, dog?
It's all good. You are a part of the same class with Tony Oliva and Jim Cott. How happy are you for Tony, because he's been waiting so long? And what's it like to be part of a class that has so many Minnesota connections?
Man, Tony always being Tony and also Gene Cat. Those guys have been around for a long time, and you know Tony. Tony was always there with us, spending time, telling us what to do. You know, he always wanted the best for us. So it's amazing, and I'm very surprised, you know, that I'm gonna go into the Hall of Fame, you know, exactly in the same day that Tony and Mr. Gene Cat are going into. You know, it's an honor. It's an honor. Yesterday we have a blast at the dinner, talking and remembering things, and also talking about Kirby, who was a big mentor to me. I got to see so many of the Minnesota people that I deal with when I first got into the big league, and it was very emotional. But at the same time, always, you know, thanking everyone, because that's how I am.
Evan in the white, right there. Keep your hand up.
Nicole Peña desde la República Dominicana, más allá del béisbol.
Ay, qué linda.
Gracias. Sabemos que estás feliz, pero ¿cómo describes este momento? ¿Y te visualizabas en los inicios de tu carrera, en este momento, en este nivel tan importante?
En clase A, que ese manager, él era duro conmigo, muy duro. Y yo como muchacho al fin, yo no entendía. Yo decía, coño, pero este tipo me la pone en China a cada rato. ¿Qué es lo que yo hago con este hombre? Y al final de la temporada me multaba cada rato. Cada vez que yo ponía un huevo me hacía un lío. Pues sabes que tú como muchacho al fin, tú siempre estás haciendo cosas y que tú crees que son bien, pero ellos como mayores al fin te disciplinan. Y me ponía una multa cada rato y al final de la temporada, toda la multa del dinero que él me quitó, me lo devolvió y me dijo, ¿sabes por qué yo era así contigo? Porque en esta liga entera, el único que yo creo que ha puesto una carrera larga en Grandes Ligas eres tú. Y eso fue como para que yo a temprana edad tuviera una disciplina, ¿entiendes? Y uno trata de hacer eso con los muchachos hoy en día, para que los muchachos entiendan que esta carrera es difícil. Y, ¿qué te digo? Tú lo único que nunca te puedes olvidar es de dónde tú vienes. real.
Got time for one more. Dan, right there on the end. Larkin.
No, not him.
Hi, David. I'm doing great. How are you? Dan Roach from WBZ.
What's up, brother?
Yep, nice to see you again.
Hey, I also want to get a question from that guy over there. Nah, you. You? Yes.
We'll wrap up with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
David, you know, looking back on your career, there's a lot of Hall of Fame inductions, but there's
Yes.
so many of your teammates here, from Pedro you mentioned, but,
Yeah.
you know, Veritek, Damon, Lowell, all Euclid, all here to watch this with you this weekend. What does that mean to you, and what especially to that 04 team, which you guys did that 86-year-old curse, what did that all mean to you now looking back on it?
Well, my teammates, going back to my Minnesota days, all the way to Boston, all I can say, man, is that I try to always have my teammates back. And they feel me back with the same thing. That's why you're going to see so many of them out there tomorrow. This is a fraternity that the same way it goes here in Cooperstown with all these Hall of Famer. That you see going on here, we build it up on the field through our careers. You need to be a good teammate. You got to be able to let them know that you're always going to be there for them. It's your second family, you know. It's the people that you hang out as much as you do with your family. So I always want to make sure that my teammates and everybody feel comfortable around me. Because it's not just about the talent, the God-given talent that you get. It's about having each other's back and being able to, as a team, provide. A lot of people come to me and be like, hey, man, 2004, 2007, 2013, all those years, you have great season. You did this, you did that. And I'm like, yes, I did it, but without my teammates, I don't think I would have accomplished any of it. You know what I'm saying? So my teammates all means a lot to me, and they know that. They know that.
One last question. There in the white in the end, Larkin.
Gracias, David, un placer. Por aquí. Luego de este paso, ¿cómo visualizas tu participación en los medios de comunicación? Todos te reconocemos el trabajo que has hecho en Fox. What is the next step? Y también expectativas para mañana en el Dominican Latin Fest. Iván Cuevas de Iván On Radio y Tu Sabor Deportivo.
Iván, ¿cómo tú estás, mi hermano? Esta mujer me dañó la entrevista hablándome de mi mamá al principio. Ahora no paro de llorar. Mira, ¿qué te digo? Tú sabes que yo soy una persona que yo siempre me gusta preparar ese monstruo que uno tiene durmiendo, despertarlo, y esa inquietud, porque tú sabes que yo soy un tipo que yo no tengo, gracias a Dios, el miedo escénico. Yo soy medio atrevido, tú sabes, y yo me presto para muchas cosas porque yo soy medio payaso de vez en cuando también. Y yo creo que esas son las cosas que te abren puertas y te dan oportunidad. Pero lo más importante que uno siempre debe tener es la forma de conectar con la gente. Y yo tengo esa, ¿cómo le llamaríamos eso? Esa virtud, ¿me entiendes? Y nada, y seguir trabajando y metiendo manos y volvemos un criminal así como ustedes. Dame un segundo, espérate. ¿Cómo fue? ¿Y la otra cosa cuál fue? Ok. Eso viene duro. Ahí viene una ganga de los tigres míos que vienen a hacerme coro. Y eso de nosotros mañana. Vamos a hacer un escándalo que no nos acepten más por aquí. Un momento de mi carrera, mira, tú sabes que en el 2004 nosotros como que cambiamos el ritmo o el rumbo de lo de allá de Boston. pero, y eso yo entiendo que fue el comienzo de esa dinastía que nosotros creamos ahí. Pero en el 2013 pasó algo en Boston que remenió al mundo, que fue lo del atentado. Porque yo diría que ese fue un momento épico. Es porque ya no se trata de un deporte, se trata de nosotros como ciudadanos. Un país una ciudad tan emblemática, pero a la vez en medio de lo que es el maratón de Boston, algo que se sabe a nivel mundial, y que todo el mundo está tratando todo el mundo se familiariza con eso, porque todo el mundo tiene un familiar enfermo, alguien que está padeciendo de algo, ¿me entiende? Entonces, ese año, como empezaron las cosas y como terminaron, ni una película que tú quieras filmar termina como que tan perfecta después de la tormenta como pasó ese año. Entonces, eso fue un año que me marcó mucho.
Thank you, David, very much for being here. We look
Thank you
forward
to all of
being
you.
inducted tomorrow.
One more thing, I see you tomorrow at the Latin Fest. Esa de Omegan Brewery. We're going to have a great time. La cervecería Omegan. Así que lo espero a todos ustedes allá. Vamos a gozar 8 de la noche.
We're going to have Jim Cott on the stage right after this.
$333 plaques, 263 players, only 1% of those to ever have played the Major League game. 38 pioneers and executives, including our only female inductee, Effa Manley. 22 managers and 10 umpires. This afternoon, that number rises, I should say, to 340 with the induction of 7 more of baseball's legends: Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, Buck O'Neill, and David Ortiz. They have all had incredible baseball careers. They define the greatness of the game with their character, integrity, sportsmanship. And it is now my pleasure to welcome our Master of Ceremonies to introduce our returning legends, our returning Hall of Fame members. He's been with MLB Network since 2011, is the host of MLB Now, and appears across much of their programming. He has a love for and commitment to baseball, to the Hall of Fame, and to Cooperstown. In his 5th year as our Master of Ceremonies, please give a warm welcome to Brian Kenny.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2022 National Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremony. What a great-looking crowd, and we're back in July. Now, with the threat of some bad weather possibly later this afternoon, we're going to be doing some shortened introductions, so be aware of that. We'll also be going without our usual video introductions. We want you to be safe. You've spent a lot of time to get out here, and we want you to be home safe later this afternoon. So, are you ready to greet our 48 returning Hall of Famers? Leading off from the class of 2017, Tim Raines. Also from the class of 2017, Jeff Bagwell. From the class of 2019, Mike Messina. From the class of 2018, Trevor Hoffman. From the class of 1991, Ferguson Jenkins. From the class of 2004, Paul Molitor. From the class of 2018, Jack Morris. Also from the class of 2018, Alan Trammell. From the class of 2017, General Manager John Sherholtz. From the class of 2008, Goose Gossage. From the class of 2018, Jim Thome. From the class of 1992, Raleigh Fingers. From the class of 1987, Billy Williams. From the class of 2015, John Smoltz. From the class of 2011, General Manager Pat Gillick. From the class of 2020, Larry Walker. From the class of 2019, Mariano Rivera. Also from the class of 2019, Edgar Martinez. From the class of 2000, Tony Perez. From the class of 2017, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. From the class of 1999, George Brett. From the class of 2018, Vladimir Guerrero. From the class of 2020, Ted Simmons. From the class of 1995, Mike Schmidt. From the class of 2003, Eddie Murray. From the class of 2017, Major League Baseball's Commissioner Emeritus, Bud Selig. From the class of 2011, Bert Blyleven. From the class of 2010, the Hawk, Andre Dawson. From the class of 2019, Harold Baines. From the class of 1999, Robin Yount. From the class of 1993, Reggie Jackson. From the class of 2004, Dennis Eckersley. From the class of 2007, Cal Ripken Jr. From the class of 2015, Pedro Martinez. From the class of 2016, Ken Griffey Jr. From the class of 1991, Rod Carew. From the class of 2002, Ozzie Smith. From the class of 1989, Johnny Bench. From the class of 2015, Craig Biggio. From the class of 2019, Lee Smith. From the class of 1972, he is the longest tenured Hall of Famer. Please welcome back Sandy Koufax. From the class of 2009, Ricky Henderson. From the class of 1983, Juan Marichal. From the class of 2005, Wade Boggs. From the class of 1999, Orlando Cepeda. From the class of 2006, Bruce Sutter. And from the class of 2009, Jim Rice. And now to the class of 2022. Bud Fowler was the first African-American player to integrate professional teams. Here to speak for Bud Fowler is a 12-time All-Star and a man who has long supported the legacies of early black ball players. Let's welcome from the class of 2001, Dave Winfield. A stalwart at first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers of the 1950s. He is represented by his daughter, Irene Hodges. Let's welcome her to the stage and let's hear it for Hall of Famer, Gil Hodges. Raised in Cuba, he would become the first black ball player for the Chicago White Sox after he joined the American League after winning a Negro League World Series title. Please welcome to the stage his widow, Sharon Minoso, and let's hear it for Hall of Famer, Minnie Minoso. A player and manager for the Kansas City Monarchs and the first African-American coach in American League or National League history. His work was integral to the creation of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, In Kansas City, let's welcome to the stage his niece, Dr. Angela Terry, and let's hear it for the all-time great Hall of Famer, Buck O'Neil. He also came out of Cuba and was a three-time batting champion. Let's welcome to the stage, class of 2022, Hall of Famer Tony Oliva. He's one of only 5 pitchers in the majors to play 25 seasons. When he retired with 283 wins, it was the 8th most among pitchers in the live ball era. Please welcome Hall of Famer Jim Cobb. And finally, one of the best clutch hitters in the history of baseball, 541 career home runs, the driving force for 3 World Series championships for the Boston Red Sox. Please welcome Hall of Famer, Big Papi, David Ortiz. Please welcome Hall of Famer. Let's welcome to the stage another special individual who will be part of today's ceremony, the 10th commissioner in the history of Major League Baseball. Let's welcome him, the commissioner, Rob Manfred.
I would now like to ask you all to please rise and remove cover as we welcome a very special guest to the stage to perform our national anthem. She joins us today not only to sing the national anthem, but to celebrate her father's Hall of Fame induction. A music producer, vocalist currently studying at Berklee College of Music in Boston, please welcome the daughter of the class of 2022 Hall of Fame inductee David Ortiz, Alex Veda Ortiz. Alex.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare elbows bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
A terrific performance from David's daughter. A wonderful way to begin the festivities. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back,
Siga disfrutando de este programa, gracias a Agua Planeta Azul.
three-time All-Star, had 3 20-win campaigns, including back-to-back seasons with White Sox in 1974-75 when he mastered quick pitch delivery. Transitioned to bullpen in final seasons, aiding in Cardinals' 1982 World Series victory, set standard for fielding excellence among pitchers, earning 16 straight Gold Glove awards. Retired with the most seasons of any pitcher in history, 25, and 6th most games started, 625.
You know, Tom, it's a baseball life that spans over 60 years. When I think of how Jim Cott constructs a speech like this, where does he begin?
Probably at the beginning in his love for baseball, which really came from his father. I'm really anxious to hear him explain that connection. So many of us get the love of this game from our parents, and for Jim, it's a strong, strong bond.
And I can see him having a message to the modern day player with the importance of loving the sport and playing for that and getting back to the roots of the foundation of the game. I just know he's going to say something.
He's such a great storyteller. I can't wait to hear him tell the story of his baseball life. As Jim Cott, who sat back down, has to stand back up and go to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I wish to begin by thanking Jane Forbes Clark, Chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, Josh Rawitch, the President, the entire staff of the Hall of Fame, and also the hundreds of volunteers that have made this weekend go so smoothly. And I want to thank all of you for being here. What a wonderful atmosphere to demonstrate your love for the game of baseball. And I found out yesterday these people are people that love baseball. I fell in love with baseball on June 26, 1946. My dad drove me to Detroit to see a doubleheader, Red Sox Tigers. I saw Ted Williams, Bobby Doerr, Hank Greenberg, Al Newhouser. But what really impressed me is when I walked up the ramp to find our seats, this dark green cathedral called Briggs Stadium opened up. And the greenest expanse of grass I'd ever seen, the whitest white uniforms. And I think my little 7-year-old brain said, I want to be one of those guys. And I actually think that from that day forward, all I wanted to be was a baseball player. I learned a lot about the Hall of Fame, actually, in those years. My parents actually drove here in 1947 to see the induction of my dad's favorite player, Lefty Grove. In our living room, we played a lot of baseball history, asked me a lot of questions. I knew the answers to one of the questions before he got done reciting it. And the answers were Ty Cobb, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, Babe Ruth, and Hannes Wagner. First 5 inductees in the Hall of Fame, 1956. I knew that before I was 10 years old. Now, when you hear the words after you answer your phone, this is Jane Clark calling from the Hall of Fame. Your life immediately changes, and Jane, those words will resonate with me for the rest of my life. The day after that, I happened to hear Ray Charles belt out America the Beautiful. And he came to that line, God shed his grace on thee. It reminded me, God has shed his grace on me extravagantly. I mean, we have a world with millions of people that are disadvantaged, oppressed, wake up daily to pain and suffering. I was able to live, and still am, a comfortable life for over 83 years. I had great parents, grew up in a great community, Zeeland, Michigan, and I was gifted with the ability to play baseball, and I'm grateful for that. I want to acknowledge a few people today, a couple that aren't here. I had 22 wonderful years with Mary Ann Montanaro. She was always hoping this day would come. My daughter Jill was taken from us last year. This would certainly be a special day for her. But I see the smiles on their faces as they would celebrate the joy that we have this weekend. Now, Margie Mather-Cott is here. And I often introduce myself as Mr. Margie Cott because she is by far the strongest part of our partnership. And she has brought me joy, purpose, inspiration, and support for over 13 years. And I thank you for being who you are. You are an awesome partner. I want to thank the Golden Days Committee. When your career is validated by players that you played against, played with, media people, club executives that actually saw you play, that's the highest honor you can get. And I'm honored to go in with the class of 2022 and my fellow inductees. Now, you know my dad was a baseball fan, so I want to tell you the impact he had on my life. It was a blend of wisdom, discipline, and support. I never understood the discipline as a young boy. He never had more than an 8th grade education, but somehow he had a master's degree in discipline. And he knew how to administer it. And I didn't see the value of that until I got into adulthood. I don't know that I'm there for sure yet, but I'm getting there. But his wisdom came into play in 1957. Dick Winsick, scout for the Washington Senators, had been watching me pitch for Hope College, small college in Holland, Michigan. He actually came there to see the Kalamazoo pitcher. And we won that game. He said, I got to go back, see that kid again. We won the next game and subsequently offered me a $4,000 contract, sign, and go to Superior, Nebraska to start my career. In the meantime, Pete Melito, the White Sox scout, called and said, we think we can get your son $25,000. Well, what was required of that, and my dad, an avid reader of the Sporting News, knew that if you signed a bigger contract than $4,000, you had to sit on the big league bench on the roster for 2 years. And he followed the plight of those players. He said, thank you, Pete. Jim's going to go to the minor leagues and learn how to play the game. My dad made $72 a week in 1957. You can do the math. Figure out what he sacrificed so his son could start his career at the right level. I did go down to the minor leagues and started my career down there, and I actually made my debut a little after 2 years from the time I signed. But I wouldn't have advanced that far had I not spent a couple years in the minor leagues, and specifically 1958 in Missoula, Montana, Class C league. Was a tough league to pitch in. When I went into Boise, I'm 19 years old. The cleanup hitter for the Boise Braves, 23-year-old grizzled veteran, went on to become known as Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker. Uecker was the cleanup hitter. My manager was a 27-year-old playing manager. He's 91 and he's here today. Jack McKeon, wherever you are, could you stand for a moment? So I started out that season, Jack, 1-4, and I thought one more bad start and my dreams are going to be crushed before they start. I just want to tell you this story because it shows you the fine line between standing here being inducted into the Hall of Fame and having one more bad start and getting you sent home. And Jack called me over one day and he said, kid, you're going to pitch in the big leagues. You're pitching for me every 4 days. Might pitch a little in relief between starts. We only have 7 starters. We have 7 pitchers. We have 17-man roster. So come September, 240 innings later, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about pitching. I learned a lot about being a supportive teammate. And Jack, it still brings a smile to my face When I think about the situations I'd get into, bases loaded, 8th inning, nobody out, close game, he didn't run out to the mound, fill me full of information and advice, stepped out in front of home plate, tossed me the ball, figure out a way to get out of it. And sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't, but I thank him for letting me take ownership of the situation and take ownership of the game and my position. I want to thank several organizations here, the Minnesota Twins, a lot of Minnesota fans here. I pitched there for 13 seasons. I was there almost the entire decade of the 60s. And baseball was new there, and I want to tell you fans of the greater upper Midwest, it was such a pleasure as a young player to start my career up there. And I thank you very much for that. And I was honored to be a part of some terrific teams in the 60s. Two of the guys that helped me win some games are right back here, Rod Carew and Tony Oliva, who will be inducted momentarily. Another one that sat back there for a while is not here, is Harmon Killebrew. So I'm very thankful for that, and I had two pitching coaches, Eddie Lopat, Johnny Sane, who taught me the art of pitching. 1973, Roland Heeman, Hall of Fame executive, claimed my contract off waivers. I got reunited with Johnny Sane. Chuck Tanner was the most positive baseball person I'd been around as our manager. Many times I thought he was going to send me home. He kept flipping me the ball every 4 days. Between those three guys, they resurrected my career. You know, when you pitch for a long time, you have a lot of catchers. I had 38 of them. Wish I could thank them all. 3 of them are here, all great baseball minds. Tim McCarver, Phil Roof, and back here, Hall of Famer Ted Simmons. And the late Earl Batty caught most of my innings, and with that mellow, soft-spoken voice, he was a great guidance for me in my early years. And in 1982, I finished my career, my last full season with the St. Louis Cardinals. That was the most exciting team I've ever been on and most rewarding year. Because when Bruce Sutter, who's sitting back here, struck out the last hitter in Game 7, it meant that I would be able to wear this World Series ring. And that's what we play for. So I want to thank Whitey Herzog, the manager, all the coaches, every player on that team for enabling me to wear this ring. I am humbled and honored to be included in this fraternity of some of the greatest players to play the game, and I thank you for being part of this wonderful day.
Wow. Did we expect anything less? An ad-lib speech, smooth, charismatic. He was able to just flow from one stage of his life to the next. An outstanding speech.
Well, you said it, Greg. We were talking about the marvel of Jim Cott is he remembers everybody's name. I barely remember you two. I sit next to you every day.
Back to the podium.
Bud Fowler into the Hall of Fame family, and to ask Dave Winfield, Hall of Fame class of 2001, who will be speaking about Bud, to join me as Commissioner Manfred reads Bud's plaque.
As the first black professional baseball player, spent his youth in Cooperstown before embarking on a nomadic career starring most everywhere he played. On-field talent led to stints with numerous otherwise all-white teams, but opportunities were often short-lived due to racial prejudice. In 1895, helped form the Page Fence Giants, one of the earliest teams on the black barnstorming circuit, spearheaded the creation and promotion of several other successful clubs while moving from pitcher to second base and, at various times, managing.
Bud Fowler, who bounced around from team to team while playing segregated teams early in his career. He was released by 2 clubs because teammates boycotted his signing. He wore wooden slats to cover his shins from aggressive base runners who came in hard. He played second base. By the end of his career, he claimed he played on teams based in 22 different states plus Canada and never got the chance to reach the major leagues.
Just amazing, an amazing life. And going back here to this town, Cooperstown, New York, in the 1860s, playing on the streets of Cooperstown with the grandson of James Fenimore Cooper, the famous author. Just amazing. I'm so happy here. Really looking forward to hearing Dave Winfield. Covered a lot of his career, and Dave is a great student of the history of the game in every shape and form.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to see everyone back here in volume in Cooperstown to celebrate the Hall of Fame class of 2022. Today it is my privilege and honor to be able to speak on behalf of today's inductees, a gentleman that was born and raised in this area of the state of New York, a man born nearly 2 lifetimes ago, who was introduced to this great game of baseball in its nascent stages in the mid-1800s. This African American is from the Empire State. His name is John W. Jackson, AKA Bud Fowler. So I'm pleased to be able to speak on his behalf today. For those who haven't heard about Mr. Bud Fowler, please allow me to tell you who he was, what he accomplished in our great game, and about his legend and legacy. With that, I'd like to take you on a brief American history tour. Bud Fowler was born on March 16th in Fort Plain, New York in 1858, only 25 miles away from where we are today. Shortly after his birth, his family moved to Cooperstown, right here. The village historian recorded 28 African Americans living in Cooperstown at the time. In 1878, John made his professional debut in the International Association. His playing name became Bud because that's how he referred to others. Hey, Bud. So he adopted the last name of Fowler as well. Now, in making his pro debut, he became the first black player to integrate a white professional team nearly 70 years before the great Jackie Robinson. Now, it seems simple enough, but knowing the times, it was vastly more complicated for him than just signing up to play, no matter what his talents were. There was something magical about this game, though, that caught his eye and in his imagination, that he'd spend the rest of his life playing, managing, and imagining what this game of baseball could be. He had a passion and pursuit for the game, and it became the biggest love of his life. Now, Bud's first pro team was located in Lynn, Massachusetts, but with various rules and prohibitions, he was often called to pitch as a substitute on other teams. Now, it's hard to imagine the challenges he faced. Racism ran rampant, even though baseball's color line had not been officially established at that time. This caused him to have frequent affiliations with other teams. For example, while he was playing in Guelph, Ontario, Canada, he was quoted as saying, "Some of the Maple Leafs are ill-natured enough to object to a colored pitcher." In Binghamton, New York, the players refused to take the field until Fowler, the colored second baseman, was removed. Despite the passion for the game, the color of his skin forced him into a nomadic career, seeking teams to play for, sometimes because of his own white teammates, or just as much as the opposing teams. He pitched, caught, played second base. He did that for the Keokuk Hawkeyes in Iowa. He played in the Colorado League, played in Kansas for the Topeka Capitals, went to Indiana to play for the Terre Haute Hoosiers, went southwest to join the New Mexico League, Greenville in the Michigan State League, and he led the Nebraska State League with 45 stolen bases in just 30 games. And I learned that he came through my home state of Minnesota and played for Stillwater. They hired him in 1884. Now, they played the first 27 games on the road. They lost the first 16, but Bud Fowler came up and got them their first win. He took them out of their funk, and he was rewarded handsomely. We gave him $10 and a brand new suit. Now, he played or managed in well over 50 communities in his career. Fowler himself claimed to have played on teams in 22 different states and in Canada. Now, that likely eclipses any professional athlete, baseball player that you see up here in the Hall of Fame, and perhaps anywhere else. It seems like that song that Johnny Cash wrote that you hear on TV all the time, I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere, just for Bud Fowler. Now, throughout his career, his playing ability received high praise. Terre Haute Evening Gazette wrote, Fowler, the colored player who twirled the sphere for the visitors, pitched a fine game and batted well. The crowd showed their appreciation for his work by applauding him every time he came to bat. So he must have had skills and good stuff, what we call today. Some fans loved him, but many of his own teammates and opposing teammates didn't. They didn't want to play with a black man. As baseball's color barrier grew increasingly explicit, his career shifted from a focus on playing to organizing. He was quoted as saying, back in 1895, my skin is against me. The race prejudice is so strong that my black skin barred me. And that was years before, in 1887, the minor leagues had already stopped hiring black players. Now, facing those never-ending and unrelenting barriers, Bud then became a strong voice and advocate for an all-black league. With that in mind, he helped to start 4 new black teams. He teamed up with Grant Home Run Johnson to form the Page Fence Giants, who were envisioned as the Midwest's answer to the East Coast Cuban-American Giants. They traveled in a custom rail car, and they went on to become one of the all-time great barnstorming teams. The inaugural season, the Giants faced off against major league teams, including Cincinnati Reds. They lost a 2-game matchup with them, but it was not all lost on Fowler, who hit .316 that year on a club that posted 118 wins and 36 losses. He also had a hand in creating the Smoky City Giants, the All-American Black Tourists, and the Kansas City Stars. Think about this. Some 16 years before the creation of the Negro Leagues in 1920, Fowler was quoted in the Cincinnati Enquirer in 1904 as saying, some of these days, a few people with nerve enough to take the chance to form a colored league of about 8 cities, they're gonna pull off a barrel of money. Now, I know the field is there, he said. Fowler was described in the article as a patriarch among the black sons of SWATs. It has been said by others, that pioneers many times did not get to enjoy the changes they bring about or the doors they open. But Fowler's impact on the game and spreading the baseball to black communities around the country was indeed profound. Throughout his career in baseball, Fowler worked as a barber, a trade his father passed on to him, and one he practiced often during the offseason as he was looking for the next team to join. It really wouldn't surprise me a bit if he was one of the first team barbers in professional baseball, since that became his occupation when he finished playing. Now, ask any current player up here who lines them up, gives them dreads, knots, cornrows, or color, or who cleans up their beards. Papi, who? Sister's house in February 26, 1913. He was laid to rest just 30 miles from where we stand today in Frankfort, New York, where in 1987, the day before Catfish Hunter, Ray Dandridge and Billy Williams were inducted in the Hall of Fame, a marker was placed on this previously unmarked grave. That event, held by SABR, the Society for American Baseball Research, was attended by Hall of Famer Monty Irvin and one of Fowler's fellow members of the Hall of Fame class of 2022, the great Buck O'Neill. To show my respect on the way into Cooperstown this year, I stopped by his gravesite. When it's all said and done, You cannot think of Bud Fowler in statistics alone. Much of his statistical record has been lost to time, but you'll have to understand his entire career as a stellar ball player, equal to and better than others of his time, who gained recognition and notoriety for his play on the field and beyond. He played professionally for over 2 decades, excelling as a pitcher, catcher, second baseman, and he managed for at least 10 of those years. He was listed as among the top black players of the 19th century and never wore a glove on the field, taking everything that came his way barehanded. By some, he was called the Dean of Black Baseball. So there's an unmistakable line that you can follow from Bud Fowler to Andrew Rube Foster, who created the Negro Leagues in 1920, to Jackie Robinson in 1947, and through the other inductees we celebrate here today. So I ask, or I suggest, that you remember Bud Fowler in a broad context, not just as a pioneering African-American professional baseball player. Remember him as a skilled athlete who endured obstacles that are hard to imagine today, as an early force in integrating the game, and as a visionary who attempted to create a league of their own when the roadblocks of his time were present, yet he still persisted. One last thing. I personally hope that all of you will see him as a man that loved the game of baseball from its beginnings, and as the very first player from this small village of Cooperstown to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So beginning tonight, please pay homage to his plaque in the Hall of Fame, and note that here in Cooperstown, his hometown, that road leads to Doubleday Field. It's now named after him, Fowler Way, and it was done with much intent. So John W. Jackson, AKA Bud Fowler, congratulations, sir. You've made baseball history today, but you've always been a part of American history. So we all tip our hat to you, and it has been indeed my pleasure representing you here today and your legacy during this well-deserved recognition ceremony today. Thank you, sir. God bless you, and welcome to the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Dave Winfield and his voice of God with an outstanding speech on the late Bud Fowler. 5 more speeches coming your way. After this break, 2. We'll hear from Sharon Minoso, the widow of Minnie, and Tony Oliva. We come back live to Cooperstown.
Thank you, Dave.
Coverage of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is brought to you by Zenni. Get Hall of Fame style from Zenni with the new David Ortiz eyewear collection.
Siga disfrutando de este programa.
Joins him as one of only 31 players who have appeared in 4 different decades. Despite all that wear and tear to his remarkably reliable left arm. The best of those years came in Minnesota, where in 1964 he was joined by a red-hot rookie named Tony Oliva. Oliva had idolized Minoso. Like his Cuban countrymen, Oliva endured many misconceptions and stereotypes on his path to prominence. But with 8 All-Star selections and 3 batting titles, Oliva, like Minoso before him, was an integral piece of MLB's Latino legacy. In the late 1990s, Oliva was serving his advisory role with the Twins when he got to know a promising young prospect named David Ortiz. And though his greatest successes would not come until after he changed teams and last names, David Ortiz furnished that Latino legacy all the more with one of the most clutch and electric offensive careers of all time. Breaking the curse of the Gambino in Boston and broadening the sport's appeal in his native Dominican Republic.
Five more to go. We are moments away from hearing from Sharon Rice Minoso, Minnie Minoso's widow, on this beautiful Sunday in Cooperstown. Back to Jane Forbes Clark.
As we move through this afternoon's program, as chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome our next inductee, Sharon Minoso, as his widow, Minnie's widow, to come and join me as we ask the commissioner to please read Minnie's plaque.
Saturnino Orestes Armas Ariada Minoso, New York, NL, 1946 to 48. Cleveland, AL, 1949, 1951, 1958 through 59. Chicago, AL, 1951 through 1957, 1960, 61, 1964, 1976, 1980. St. Louis, NL, 1962, Washington, AL, 1963. Electrifying left fielder from Cuba, blazed path for generations of Latino ball players to follow as the first dark-skinned Latin American to play AL or NL. Lifted Negro National League's New York Cubans to 1947 championship before setting American League ablaze with his base running and clutch hitting for the Go-Go White Sox of the 1950s. Led AL in stolen bases 3 times and triples 3 times from 1951 through 61, while earning 9 All-Star Game selections and 3 Gold Glove awards. Returned to White Sox to extend big league career into 5 different decades. Across 20 major league seasons, hit .299 with 195 homers, 216 steals, and a .387 on-base percentage.
Let's connect to fans today. Tom, in the 1950s, for that decade, wins above replacement, people love WAR. Only Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle had a higher WAR than Minnie Minoso.
He was a superstar. On-base percentage over 400. And we talked about when he arrived on the scene in Chicago, he turned that franchise around. The attendance doubled because of his infectious energy and the way he played baseball. Stealing bases, getting on base, making things happen.
He was only about 5'8". He wasn't a big man in stature. And I told this earlier, but in 1990, when we went into Chicago, he actually took batting practice. And he was still hitting the ball. You know, you heard on the plaque, he played 5 decades.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Now we'll hear from his widow, Sharon.
Good afternoon. As many would say if he was here with us this afternoon, thank you, my friends, from the bottom of my heart. While experiencing today is bittersweet without him, I'd like to believe he's here in spirit with us, smiling broadly, his arms held wide, embracing us all. I'd like to begin by thanking the Hall of Fame, Jane Forbes Clark, Josh Rowich, John Shesta, Whitney Horn, also the Hall of Fame Board of Directors and staff who've made us all feel so welcome. Thank you as well to the members of the Hall of Fame Era Committee who voted for Minnie's induction last December. I'd also like to congratulate this year's 2022 inductees, Tony Oliva, Jim Cott, David Ortiz, and also the families of Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, and Buck O'Neill. And I think that all of you on this stage would agree with Minnie when he would say that baseball has been very, very good to me. On behalf of Minnie, as well as our whole family, we'd like to thank the Chicago White Sox organization. Thank you for your kindness and support, especially Jerry Reinsdorf, Howard Weiser, Scott Reifert, Joe Simmons, and also Christine O'Reilly. I consider Christine Minnie's work wife and appreciated all of her help over the years in keeping Minnie organized with his appearances and many requests. It truly took a village to care for my husband. Thank you to all the players and families who befriended Minnie and our family over the many years. Minnie considered everyone at the White Sox his extended family, including all the employees who loved my husband and were so excited at his receiving this honor. Mr. White Sox loved you all. Thank you to all the friends and many supporters who continue to advocate for him over the many years. Bob Kendrick of the Negro League Hall of Fame, Joe Pisnaski, Bill James, Orlando Cepeda, Adrian Burgo, and Eduardo and Tony Perez. The list is simply too long to include everyone, but know we love and appreciate you all. Thank you to Bill Veck and his family for signing Minnie to Cleveland's franchise, where he became the Major League's first Afro-Latino player. During the Go-Go Sox era of the 50s, Minnie fell in love with the city of Chicago, and the White Sox fans returned the love over and over again. Our family would like to offer a special acknowledgement to Chuck Comiskey and the Comiskey family, as well as Minnie's teammates, Billy Pierce, Nellie Fox, Louis Aparicio, Chico Carrascal, Moose Scourin, Jim Landis, and Jungle Jim Rivera, who all were so kind and helpful towards Minnie when he first arrived in the United States while playing in the major leagues. We also send our love to Ron Kittle, who Minnie mentored during Ron's early career and referred to Minnie as Papa Minnie. Over his 75 years in the game, Minnie enjoyed so many relationships with baseball. In addition to the major leagues, his career took him to Cuba, the Negro Leagues, and the Mexican leagues. Decade after decade after decade after decade after decade after decade after decade. 75 years in baseball. Minnie enjoyed a very special bond with his countrymen. Players like Jose Cardinal, our son Charlie's godfather, Louis Tian, and our fellow inductee, Tony Oliva. He played the role of surrogate father and mentor to many Cubans, including Jose Contreras, Alexi Ramirez, Orlando Hernandez, and Jose Abreu. Los Obama, El Todos. We love you all. While Minnie's been inducted to other esteemed halls of fame, including Cuba and the Dominican Republic, it would have meant the world to Minnie to see this day and be here himself, knowing he was inducted to Cooperstown Hall of Fame alongside baseball's greatest players. And what makes today's recognition especially bittersweet is that Minnie faced many obstacles to arrive at this day. As a dark-skinned Afro-Latino in the height of segregation, he knew of the racial and cultural challenges that he would endure coming to the United States. He tolerated them so he could play professional baseball and fulfill his own American dream. Little did he know as a pioneer that he was opening doors for countless others behind him, some of them who sit proudly on this stage. As a youngster growing up in Cuba, Minnie learned an important lifelong lesson from his parents. Regardless of the situation, respond to negativity as a gentleman. When opposing pitcher came up and intentionally threw a fastball at Minnie's head, the very best reply Minnie had was to have a big smile on his face and hit a line drive to outfield. Through it all, Minnie was never bitter, despite the many injustices and hardships he faced. Today's honor bestowed upon Minnie is most appropriate, not only as a Hall of Fame player, but Minnie was always a gentleman and Hall of Fame person, off the field and in the community. Minnie loved people who they were as individuals, and he would say, "We should all love and respect each other, no matter our color or differences." He was a great ambassador for the game of baseball and the city of Chicago. Baseball was his life. He was proud to wear his uniform, to come to the ballpark every day, to greet fans with a smile and sign autograph after autograph. Some people believe that Minnie signed an autograph for every man, woman, and child in the Windy City. I'd like to acknowledge Minnie's children and grandchildren, our son, Charlie Rice Minoso, Minnie's daughter, Marilyn Macias, and spouse, Astrubal, and grandchildren, Yvette and Astrubal Jr. Also his daughter, Cecilia, and spouse, Herb, and grandson, Lorenzo. Unable to join us today is Orestes Jr., who unfortunately passed away this past March. Orestes played with his dad in the Mexican League in the winters in the 1970s, and sadly, he did not get to see his dad's induction ceremony today. Second to the number of autographs Minnie signed is the amount of food he cooked. Holidays and family gatherings with Minnie were filled with delicious Cuban food and messy kitchens, which his daughters and I were left cleaning up. He would also have hours of domino marathons with the son-in-law and grandsons. During the winter time, Minnie and I would have very competitive domino games between the two of us. These were some of my fondest memories and fun times with him. Playing dominoes in front of the fireplace, our dog Jules at our feet under the table, his favorite cowboy movie on, and also him having something cooking in the kitchen too. Among Minnie's other qualities were his charismatic personality, positive attitude, hallmark smile, commitment to hard work, and giving back, as well as a passion and love for life. From a humble ranch in Cuba to the National Baseball Hall of Fame, what a way to honor such a remarkable life lived and to service to the sport he loved. Minnie was proud to be Cuban, to be an American and a professional baseball player. He also would have been so very proud to be a Hall of Famer. A big thank you to the baseball fans, and especially those Chicago White Sox fans who joined us today to cheer for Minnie one more time as he receives this fantastic honor. If Minnie were here today, he would also say to all of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And he certainly would add, God bless you, my friends. On behalf of my husband, Minnie, and the entire Minoso family, we thank you.
As chairman of the board of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome Tony Oliva into the Hall of Fame family and ask him to join me as Commissioner Manfred reads his plaque.
Tony Pedro Oliva Lopez. Artfully wielded left-handed line drive swing throughout 15-year career that saw him win 3 batting titles and top the American League in hits 5 times and doubles 4 times. Burst into the big leagues with 8 straight All-Star seasons from 1964 through 71, earning MVP votes in all 8 years. As 1964 Rookie of the Year, paced AL in runs, hits, doubles, batting average, and total bases. Won 2nd straight AL batting crown, the first player to begin a career with back-to-back batting titles, while helping Minnesota win its first AL pennant in 1965. Awarded 1966 Gold Glove in right field.
You know, Harold, people don't know, really the younger fan doesn't understand how important Tony Oliva is to the Minnesota Twins organization. 15 seasons with the Twins, matched only by Joe Mauer. Top 4 in hits, homers, RBIs. He was a coach on the World Championship teams in '87 and '91.
Well, that may be the greatest impact that he had on the organization, giving them a hitting philosophy and a foundation. You start looking at those Minnesota teams back then, Tom, they all hit. They put the ball in play. They hit the ball hard. They sprayed it. That's his signature.
It's a great tradition there. He's a big part of it. And what a batting order this is. It's perfect with Minoso, who they was described as the Latino Jackie Robinson, followed by Tony Oliva, his idol growing up, Minnie Minoso.
The Cuban comment, he looked up to Minnie Minoso. Tony Oliva, 15 seasons in the big leagues. He's a Hall of Famer now.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Jen, Rob, and the Cooperstown committee and the people who work so hard to make this thing so nice for us. It was beautiful. But I hear today, I can't believe I hear. I look to the left, I look to the right, and bringing me some memory. This place right here look like my home in Cuba, when my father built a field that the young kid was able to play baseball. Look, exactly like, you know my gym, did I mention that? Okay. No, well, first of all, I want to thank God, my mother and my father, my brothers and sisters and my friends who encouraged me to follow my dream and come to the United States and play baseball. Roberto Fernandez Tapenes and Joe Cambria, the scout of Minnesota Twins, they gave me the opportunity to sign me and come to the United States. After 4 days of spring training, Minnesota Twins not having no room for me, they released me. They take me to Charlotte, North Carolina, with the way to Cuba. But in those days, they not can ship me to Cuba right away because we have a problem in Cuba with invasion. They keep me there. When I meet this wonderful friends, Cuba baseball player, Rigoberto Mendoza. He's speaking with the general manager of Charlotte, North Carolina. And this general manager, Fair House, he's speaking on Calvin Griffith, the owner of the ball club. And the owner of the ball club, he signed me again. He gave me the opportunity to play in the rookie league. And you know, everybody here know, everything after that was history. I went down to the rookie league, I doing my thing. I hit 410. After that, I was a Superman. But I have it. I've been so blessed and so lucky. The veteran, the Golden Era Committee, put me in the Hall of Fame. And all those guys right there behind me, the Hall of Fame, who keep me in the ballot for 45 wonderful years. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, guys. You know, listen, when I hear the phone call for that beautiful lady right there, James, I can't believe it. I answered the phone. My wife kissed me in the head. Was about 30 people in the room. Everybody was crying. I don't know what to say. I passed the phone to my good friend, Julie, from the ball club. I said, Julie, answer the phone. Julie said, no, it's you called. And I was so happy. You never know how happy I was. I think that I was my last boss. If I don't go to Hall of Fame, that time it's all over for Tony. I think, you know, I'm 84 years old. Before I forget it, I want to tell you, I was 84 3 days ago here in Cooperstown. How good can be? You know, that was beautiful. That's very nice. I'd like to thank you. The boat I get very dry. The boat all committed. You know, those people who work so hard, all my friends, to boat, and keep my name alive. And those people work so hard. They work harder than me to help me to put myself in the Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank you to Calvin Griffin, the Minnesota Twins, for giving me the opportunity to play for Minnesota Twins and be my friend. Calvin Griffin family was very nice to me. I'd like to thank you, the Carl Pollack and Jim Pollack family, for keeping me in baseball over 60 years for an organization for Minnesota. I love Minnesota. I'd like to say thank you to Dave San Pedro. He's the general manager. No, I'm sorry, the president of the Minnesota Twins. He's my friends, my good friends. He good friend to the family. I don't have enough words to tell you how nice person he is, how good he is for me. For all those years, I know him since he was a little guy. But every day I see him, he's happy. I'm so blessed to be able to play for Minnesota Twins. I worked for Minnesota Twins all those years, because from the top to the bottom, everybody first class. I'd like to thank you, all my teammates. If you know what's about my teammates, if you know what's about those coaches, I like there's one coach here today, maybe it's more, but there's one coach here today. He's maybe 94 years old because he's old like me, and he was my coach. But he killed me. Mr. Jack McKean, he's here. I know what I'm talking about. He used his 100 grand ball to me and 100 fly ball to me every day, because in 1961, 1962, I was able to catch a grand ball, fly ball. You know, that was the truth, guys. But I was very proud that 5 years later, I won the Golden Glove in American League. Yeah, I'm very proud to be able to go to the Hall of Fame today when a fellow like Oreti Minoso. Oreti Minoso, I remember listening the radio in Cuba when he played for Marineros, Cuba. He was so good that when he good, the people say, when Minoso, he good, the boa danza, the cha-cha-cha. That was a song, that was unbelievable. And Minoso for us, there was the Jackie Robinson in America, But I still not believe that because you're black or you're white, you have to represent, what you are. I think when you're black and you play good and you play hard and give it 100%, the people admire you. No matter if it's white or black, the people care for you. I'd like to thank you, these people, who really they care of me. When I first came to Minnesota, I don't have no family, no money, I'm not speaking any English. Until today, I'm not speaking too good. But, 1/3 of the Minnesota Twin ball player was Spanish, especially 90% was Cuban. We got the Solo Reyes, the Julio Becker, it's like my brother, Camilo Pascual, the Pete Ramos, the Orlando Martinez, Valdivieso, all those guys was there. Sandoval Espino was there. All those guys was there. I have a chance to play with them, and they babysitted me. They was very nice to me. Plus, I play for some great American ball players. I like Hamon Killebrew. I tell everybody Killebrew was too nice to be a baseball player. He was good hitter, but he was a great pitcher. Great pitcher. I have the opportunity to play with another guy, my teammate. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame because in the 60s and the 70s, he was by the number 3 pitcher in the American League. This young man is Luis Tiante. I think pretty soon you will see him here. I played with my roommate, Rod Carew. Him and me, we roommate 11 years. My good friend and brother, Orlando Cepeda, Tani Perry. I have many great people, great friends. And now, I talk to you a little bit. This guy go today into Hall of Fame, the Big Papi. The Big Papi, he was from Minnesota Twin a few years. We have a good time together. But the best thing happened to Big Papi was went to Boston. Because Boston was, Martinez was there, Ramirez was there. It was good for him. But, but I am sorry we missed him. But it's very good for him because as a baseball, the way the baseball work and the front office work, they want the players, the best for the players. And they think that for me and for the front office, they're very happy that he is where he is, from Boston. He got all those great years. He said, I don't like what he did against us. Every time he faced us, he paid back. I don't like that, But, having the opportunity since I've been in Minnesota 61 years, I was in the Carl Pollack era. Wonderful. We enjoy every moment when we win the World Series in 87 and 91. I have the chance to be there from Kirby Puckett. He called me Papa. Nice guy, very nice guy. I was Beck was there. I work in the manual league. You have a chance to teach all those guys a little bit. I give a little bit my advice, not everything, all a little bit. But we did it real well. we win 2 World Series. And a lot of those guys is here today. I wish I can say, mention everybody, but it's too hard for me. But now I'm going to take another little thing for you guys, because I don't want to take too much time. I want to introduce my family. My wonderful, beautiful wife. When I meet her, that Godet Oliva, when I meet her back in 1964, I don't speak English. She don't speak Spanish. And the whole conversation was, what? And when I call her in telephone, and the telephone, in those days when she lived in the country, they have a party line, about 15 people want in the line. No gringo understand. But we have a great time. Gentlemen, this is my wife, Godet Oliva, my daughter Anita, my son Damio. Pedro, he's not here today. He's at home. He's not allowed to travel, but he watch, he enjoy it. My son Rick, my grandson Joel, my grandson Alex, Nick, and the beautiful little Mari, and my brother Reynaldo, and my brother Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos, he traveled all over the world because we have the opportunity to play for the Cuban national team. Gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you to all the fans, all the wonderful fans, all those fans from all over the world. The fans from, I know a lot of you people traveling long way to be here. I have a lot of family here today who come out for long way. Friends who is here today who come out for long ways. I appreciate you very much. And thank you all those people, especially those people from Minnesota, the friends from Minnesota. I live in Minnesota for 60 years. I love Minnesota, and Minnesota is my home. You guys been very good to me and my family. Thank you. I want to take a couple of words now to say something in Spanish. Estoy mirando muchas banderas cubanas por ahí, dominicanas, puertorriqueñas, de todos lugares, pero me alegro mucho, estoy muy contento de ser cubano, tú sabes. Y están aquí hoy porque yo sé que muchos de los cubanos están mirando lo que está pasando aquí hoy en Cubita, y ellos me apoyaron todo el tiempo en Cuba y aquí en los Estados Unidos y en cualquier parte que estén. Tú sabes, mi familia, me gustaría poder estar junto con ustedes, o más estuvieran aquí. And my brother Reynaldo, and my brother Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos, he traveled all over the world because we have the opportunity to play for the Cuban national team. Gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you to all the fans, all the wonderful fans, all those fans from all over the world. The fans from, I know a lot of you people traveling long way to be here. I have a lot of family here today who come out for long way. Friends who is here today who come out for long ways. I appreciate you very much. And thank you all those people, especially those people from Minnesota, the friends from Minnesota. I live in Minnesota for 60 years. I love Minnesota, and Minnesota is my home. You know, you guys been very, very, very good to me and my family. Thank you. Yeah, I want to take a couple of words now to say something in Spanish. Estoy mirando muchas banderas cubanas por ahí, dominicanas, puertorriqueñas, de todos lugares, pero me alegro mucho, estoy muy contento de ser cubano, tú sabes. Y están aquí hoy porque yo sé que muchos de los cubanos están mirando lo que está pasando aquí hoy en Cubita, y ellos me apoyaron todo el tiempo en Cuba y aquí en los Estados Unidos y en cualquier parte que estén. Tú sabes, mi familia, me gustaría poder estar junto con ustedes, o más estuvieran aquí, pero por situaciones no pueden hacer, pero yo lo adoro, lo quiero y lo llevo aquí siempre en el corazón. Y cada momento que pasa, mi mente es en mi Cubita. La quiero, nunca me olvido de ella y tú sabes, le deseo la mejor suerte. También quiero dar las gracias a México, donde estuve mucho tiempo, que me dieron la oportunidad de jugar, y también Manichal, Colombia, también fui en Colombia, Puerto Rico, que fue donde empecé en la pelota de invierno, y Santo Domingo, Dominica República. Me pusieron en el Salón de la Fama y es un orgullo para mí, y tener la oportunidad que yo he visto que tantos latinos ahora están jugando más en la pelota de todos lugares, no solamente de Cuba, de Puerto Rico, de Santo Domingo, Venezuela, de todas las partes. Este es un trabajito muy bonito, pero ustedes se tienen que portar muy bien. Y yo nunca pensé en mi vida que yo iba a estar aquí. Nunca. Mi sueño era jugar pelota en Cuba, si era posible. Muchas gracias y que Dios los bendiga a todos. Thank you very much, and God bless you, and baseball being very, very, very good to me and everybody who played this beautiful game. Thank you, guys, thank you.
The great Tony Oliva freestyling up there at the podium in English and in Spanish. What a lovable human being. 4 speeches down, 3 more to go. We come back, we hear from the daughter of Gil Hodges, Irene Hodges, as our coverage of Induction Sunday continues live from Cooperstown.
It's the centerpiece of baseball's Hall of Fame. The gallery, located straight through the front entrance, displays the plaques paying tribute to the greatest figures in the history of the game. Every one of them tells a story in just a handful of sentences, encapsulating the significance of a career, and in some cases, an entire life. You can spend hours in the space, scanning from plaque to plaque, just finding a seat on a bench, reflecting on all the baseball history that surrounds you. One of the best parts of the room is that it's always growing. It sits on the shores of Otsego Lake, a structure more than a century old. A visit any time of year offers a chance to step back into another age. But on Hall of Fame weekend, every year in Cooperstown, the veranda behind the Oficial Resort Hotel becomes something else entirely. A meeting ground for generations of baseball greats. A town square for legends to meet up, catch up, and enjoy the perks of being in the game's most exclusive club.
I just want to let you know how much you're appreciated by the men up here on this stage. I rode in on the bus, and you saw the buses as we came in, and Billy Williams was sitting next to me, and we all were just saying, wow, look at this crowd. We know the effort that you put in, and the Hall of Famers greatly appreciate and are touched by you all coming out here again today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. And as we continue our 2022 induction ceremony, as chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome Gil Hodges into the Hall of Fame family and ask his daughter, Irene, to join me as Commissioner Manfred reads the inscription on Gil's plaque.
Gilbert Ray Hodges, Gil, Brooklyn, NL, 1943, 1947 through 57. Los Angeles, NL, 1958 through 61. New York, NL, 1962-63. Cleanup hitter and foundational cornerstone of the celebrated Dodger teams that won 7 National League pennants and 2 World Series over 13 seasons in the late 1940s and 50s. 8-time All-Star, topped 20 home runs in 11 straight years, and hit 4 in one game in 1950. One of the finest defensive first basemen of his era, won first 3 Gold Gloves awarded at the position from 1957 through 59. Finished with 370 home runs, 3rd highest total among right-handed batters at the time of his retirement. Managed Washington and New York for 9 seasons from 1963 through 71, leading Miracle Mets to 1969 World Series title.
You know, Tom, this is the end of a long journey for the Hodges family this day.
Yeah, no one ever had so many close calls, so many disappointments, so close to the Hall for so many years without getting in than Gil Hodges. And I do think about the family. You know, I asked Gil Jr. how they decided among the 3 surviving children who would give this speech today. He told me, Irene said, it's mine. Nobody argued.
Well, the first person that steps up probably has a lot to say. So we're looking forward to hearing Irene Hodges' speech regarding her late father, Gil Hodges.
Gil Hodges could have been in as a player.
Oh, when he retired.
Very similar to Joe Torre.
He was 11th all-time in home runs with 370. One of the great sluggers of his generation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to begin by offering a very humble and grateful thank you to a few very special people that have been with me on this journey. First and foremost, Chairman of the Hall of Fame, Ms. Jane Forbes Clark. I thank you for your most gracious and heartfelt welcome to the Hodges family. Each and every experience leading to today has been flawless and unforgettable as a result of your dedication and leadership. I'd also like to thank Josh Rawitch, Hall of Fame President, who has stood by my side since the beginning in support of my family. Your kindness has always been so appreciated. And certainly not least, 2 very special people who have held my hand and my heart along the way, John and Whitney. You are such a dynamic team. Each and every family representative is so lucky to have you guide us and cheer us as we prepare for this special moment in time. I would also like to thank my family for being here, for being a part of the most wonderful celebration for my dad. It is such a privilege to stand here today as the Hall of Fame honors my father. He was a very humble man, but he would be so proud to be here with the best of the best in baseball. 50 years ago, not only did the Mets and the Dodgers lose one of their heroes, we lost a husband and a father. Our greatest gift, although my father's life was cut so short, was his influence on those around him. His teammate, Jackie Robinson, once said, a life is not important except for the impact it leaves on others. My father sincerely believed that and led a life that has impacted others in a positive way. You will hear a lot today about Gil Hodges, the baseball player, what he did on the field and in the dugout. You will hear how he was the dominant first baseman of the 1950s. You will hear how he led all Major League first basemen during that decade in home runs, RBIs, hits, and games played. And you will hear also how he took a team affectionately known as the Lovable Losers and turned them into the Miracle Mets in just 2 short seasons. But I am his daughter, and I am here to tell you about the man he was. Nobody loved the game of baseball more than my dad. He worked tirelessly to make it to the major leagues. He achieved his dream, appearing in his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1943. But he loved his country even more. After his very first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. My dad was a selfless person, and he knew he had to serve his country. He would leave his baseball career behind, never knowing if he would make it back, and he would serve and protect his country. My dad proudly served in the Battle of Okinawa, where he was awarded the Bronze Medal and a Combat V Medal for heroism under fire. Through all this, my father never lost sight of his faith and his love of people. During his time in Okinawa, he would befriend the Japanese children who were so frightened by the American soldiers. My father would gather the children from the village along with his fellow Marines and teach them baseball. It gave them some joy back in their life where the war had robbed them of. Later on, when Jackie Robinson became the first African American to break the color barrier in Major League Baseball, nothing was more important to my dad than giving Jackie all of his support. We were like family with the Robinsons. Jackie's kids played in our house, we played in theirs. My dad were not only teammates with Jackie, but they were family. My father made everyone feel comfortable and accepting of Jackie when he came to the big leagues. Recently, I heard a story about my dad, which I believe shows the support Jackie had from his teammates. During a game, Jackie was being heckled by the opposing dugout nonstop. At one point, my dad had had enough of that. He put down his glove, he went to the top step of the dugout and said, if anyone else has anything to say, let them come out here right now and we will settle it. Needless to say, nobody came out and no one said another word. My dad had an open heart for Jackie. They were close until the day my dad passed. On the day of my father's funeral, Jackie cried uncontrollably, saying, next to my son's death, this was the worst day of my life. Soon after, my father passed, so did Jackie. Duke Snyder said my dad was a great ball player, but he was an even greater man. He set an atmosphere in the Brooklyn team in which there was never any animosity or jealousy. He was a true leader of men and built camaraderie among his teammates. Everyone wanted to win, but never put themselves above anyone else on that field. My father had a special relationship with the Brooklyn fans. Even though he was from Indiana, he loved Brooklyn and became a part of his community. He went to church there, he walked to the stores, he would take us sledding when there was snow. There was never any pretense about him. He was an ordinary man and everybody knew him. He was respected and he showed respect to everyone as well. When my father slumped in the 1952 World Series, Brooklyn fans loved him. Who goes 0 for 21 and gets a standing ovation every time at bat? That's exactly what happened to my dad. The Brooklyn fans loved my father and they loved their team. So when the Dodgers finally beat the Yankees in 1955 World Series, it was one of the greatest days that Brooklyn had ever known. There was no more wait till next year. So it's easy to understand that when the Dodgers left Brooklyn, the borough lost a piece of its heart. My dad was also proud of being part of a Dodger team that won it all in 1959. After his playing days ended, his strong leadership skills would lead him to a managerial position, with his biggest days coming back in New York and with the New York Mets. Some of his players feared him, others complained about his platooning system, but they respected him. He was a fair manager. He wanted the best from every player on the field and believed they could do that. He felt the team owed that to the fans and to the front office. The expectation, you always give 100%. My father already had a reputation for being a stern manager with the Washington Senators. He was very strict on bed check during road trips, and when he found out that 4 of his players had skipped bed check, he held a team meeting the next day in the clubhouse. Never one to embarrass anyone, he told them he was aware that some of the players had skipped bed check, and there was a cigar box on his desk. At the end of the day, he wanted $100 from each of those players. At the end of the day, there was $700 in that box. It was important to my dad to create an atmosphere of honesty in his clubhouse, and he did just that. The most important lesson he taught his players and his children: never lie. He would tell us, you need to look in that mirror and have respect for the person you see. I know there are many here today that would agree that my father's finest hour was managing the Miracle Mets of the 1969 World Series championship. His immediate reaction to my mom: we did it, we brought the championship home, and that's how he felt. He truly loved his team, and he loved managing them. He knew how good they could be and how successful they would be, and now they believed it. The great Met pitcher Jerry Koosman said, Gil Hodges was the most important part of our '69 Met team because he made us believe in ourselves. The '69 Mets did what nobody thought could be done, and that made my father so proud for his team. I am proud today that we have 4 of our amazing Mets with us to honor my dad: Cleon Jones, Ed Kranepool, Art Shamsky, and Ron Swoboda. I would also like to thank Maxine Agee, who's representing Tommy Agee, of course, and to Sarah Seaver, who, as we all know, my dad loved Tom and had the utmost respect for him. So I'm so happy they are all here. I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to thank the most outstanding Met I know, and that is Jay Horowitz and his lovely lady Linda. Thank you both so much for all you have done to help celebrate this very special time in our family's lives. My mom loves you both so much. Your daily calls brighten her day, and we love you both so much. My dad's humility, ever present. In his office, right after the big win, my mom said to him, "Gil, call your mother. She must be so excited." My dad's reply, "Joan, that's a long-distance call. I don't think I should make that from the office. I'll wait until I go home." Here, he had just achieved a miracle of all baseball miracles, yet he would only do what he thought was the right thing. That was my dad. Today, I am especially happy for my mother. When the call came from the Hall of Fame and I heard, "This is Jane Forbes Clark, and it is my honor," I began sobbing, probably as much as I did when I lost my father. I was so beyond happy for him, and even thrilled that my mom at 95 would be able to hear this news. My mom is watching today from our home in Brooklyn. And to my dad, I love you so much, and I miss you every day. And I know you are smiling from heaven, now with our sister Barbara, who we miss unbelievably. And without a doubt, I know you're celebrating with Tom and the boys of summer. Thank you.
As we continue this afternoon, it is my honor as the chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame to welcome Buck O'Neill into the Hall of Fame family and to ask his niece, Dr. Angela Terry, to join me as Commissioner Manfred reads the inscription on Buck's plaque.
John Jordan O'Neill, Buck. Character, integrity, and dignity defined a life dedicated to baseball as player, manager, scout, coach, and champion of Negro League's legacies. Starred at first base for Negro American League powerhouse Kansas City Monarchs of the late 1930s and 40s, winning Negro World Series in 1942. Took the helm as successful Monarchs manager of the 1940s through mid-1950s, scouted for the Cubs, helping numerous black players transition to the American and National Leagues, then became first black coach in NL or AL history with Chicago in 1962. In later life, gave voice to the Negro Leagues, eloquently preserving its culture and legends.
Harold, what do you want to hear from Dr. Angela Terry, Buck O'Neill's niece?
Well, I think the one thing is to really capture the essence of who he was is really the Negro Leagues, what it was like, what the men were like. You know, one of the things that drove Buck nuts was Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars, that movie. He said it didn't depict what we did. We were serious ball players. We were great ball players. And they had fun, but they were great players.
He was a talented player himself, first baseman, then eventual manager, ambassador, MLB scout, key figure in Major League Baseball integration. Long time coming. Buck O'Neill is a Hall of Famer, Tom. Long time coming.
And he defines everything that's right about baseball.
Good afternoon. As one of Uncle John's heirs, I am appreciative of this opportunity to express the family's deepest gratitude for this highest recognition for his baseball career. Though any member of the family could share with you their memorable moments with Uncle John, whether that moment was when he made them feel 10 feet tall, or whether that moment was when he gave them the keep on keeping on pep talk, or when they realized how blessed they were to have such a special uncle. But I am the one standing before you today, primarily because I hold the longest membership in AARP. And age does indeed have its privileges. So I'll begin by expressing the family's thanks to the early baseball era committee for their selection of Uncle John as a member of the class of 2022. We also applaud the committee for not subjectively limiting their interpretation of an exceptional career in baseball to a singular focus upon statistics. In other words, expanding their view to include the totality of one's work in baseball. In addition, the family would like to thank Mrs. Clark, Chairman of the Board of Directors, and Mr. Warridge, President of the Hall of Fame, for their calls of congratulations. Your words added an additional song of jubilation to our hearts. Thank you. If Uncle John were here with us this afternoon, his usual spirit of humility and gratefulness would be on full display. He would quickly deflect the limelight away from himself to focus upon those who loved, inspired, and supported his lifelong passion for baseball. For example, to name just a few, Aunt Ora, his beloved wife of 50+ years, and his best friend. Dr. B.B. Martin, Black owner of the Memphis Red Sox, who in signing Uncle John in 1937 made his dreams of playing in the Negro Leagues a reality. J.L. Wilkerson, the white owner of the Kansas City Monarchs, with whom he signed next, and one who Uncle John always said treated him like a son. Ken Burns, the award-winning filmmaker and documentarian, who shone a megalight
upon the Negro Leagues in his highly acclaimed documentary, Baseball, in 1994. And last, but in no way least, Bob Kendrick. President of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, would be acknowledged and thanked by Uncle John for his leadership in advancing the mission, the prominence, and the vitality of the museum. Thank you, Bob. A precious few outside the family knew that Uncle John had always wanted Bob to be his successor as museum president. Moreover, Uncle John was highly attuned to talent, whether it be on or off the playing field. Uncle John would also probably weave into his words to you this afternoon the notion of timing. That is the positivity with which he viewed a majority of the occurrences in his life. In this light, he would remind us, all of us, that his playing career was in the Negro Leagues, and that today he was being inducted into the same class as a black baseball pioneer, Bud Fowler, and a former Negro League All-Star, Minnie Minoso. For those of us who knew Uncle John, can't you almost hear him excitedly voicing one of his favorite phrases? And I quote, "Man, oh man, nothing could be better." Poor imitation. And though Uncle John did not wear his religion on his sleeve, he was a deeply religious man. In fact, if his visits to family included a Sunday, you knew you would be accompanying him to a Methodist service that Sunday, regardless of your denomination. And with those visits, I came to learn over the years some of Uncle John's favorite Bible verses. One he often referenced was Romans 5, verses 1 through 5, which reads in part, and I quote, "Affliction produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope," end quote. Personally, I sometimes wondered if this particular verse was one of his favorites because of the racial inequities he had undoubtedly faced during his 94 years of life. However, I never asked him, and concluded that this particular verse was a part of his North Star. Our Uncle John was a man for all seasons, whose core was brotherly love. and perhaps there was no better public display of that love than when he would sing this song to adult and children audiences alike, including when he stood on this very stage in 2006 to honor the 17 Negro Leaguers elected to the Hall of Fame that year. The lyrics to that song are only 10 words long, and I quote, "The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. Thank you for loving our uncle."
What a beautiful way to end that speech. Dr. Angela Terry, the niece of Buck O'Neill, reciting the lyrics of that famous song that he sang back in 2006 right here in Cooperstown.
In loving you.
So nice. We come back, one speech left. Big Papi, live from Cooperstown, next.
As chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome David Ortiz to the Hall of Fame family. And I'd like to ask Commissioner Manfred to please read the inscription on David's plaque.
David Americo Ortiz, Big Papi, Minnesota AL 1997 through 2002, Boston AL 2003 through 16. Powerhouse left-handed slugger who was at his best in the clutch with legendary postseason performances that took the Red Sox from championship drought to 3 World Series titles in 10-year stretch. 8 times named top designated hitter while earning 10 All-Star selections. Drove in 100 or more runs in 10 seasons, leading American League 3 times. His 541 home runs, 632 doubles, and 1,768 RBI are all-time highs among designated hitters. Extra innings walk-off hits in games 4 and 5 of 2004 ALCS netted series MVP honors, set AL record for batting average, .688, en route to 2013 World Series MVP.
When you're this popular, there are so many people that love David, that know David personally, that are waiting to hear their name in this speech. Am I right?
Well, everybody here feels like he's their best friend. David's got that effect. The roars just echoed across the hillside here. What a moment.
We've been coming here for years, right? And the crowd is so big and full of David Ortiz fans. No disrespect to the other guys, but listen to what's going on behind us. He hasn't even started talking yet.
No, and you have your phone out recording like all the fans, Harold.
You got to grab the moment, Greg.
It's amazing.
Expecting this.
Well, this is the grand finale of the 2022 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We are live in Cooperstown, New York, and David Ortiz is about to address this massive crowd.
Voy a quitar los lentes. Wow! Cooperstown! Estamos aquí, mi gente. Before everything, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be here today and for giving me the joy of being able to travel this path that had allowed me to be here today and hopefully inspire everyone to believe in yourself. Thank you, dear God, for giving me the opportunity and the strength all this year to stay strong and keep my feet on the ground through ups and downs and all the sacrifices that I had to overcome to be able to be here with you today. Just like you guys know, I'm real. And I'm going to talk to you guys in English and Spanish, para que mi gente me entiendan. Todo eso viene del corazón. This is such an incredible day, an incredible honor, and I'm so humbled to be on this stage right now. The last 6 months, I received a special phone call to be elected to the Hall of Fame. I've been thinking about how I got here to this stage, Cooperstown, today. I've been thinking about my life, my career, and most of all, the people that believe in me. I've also been thinking about the lesson I've been taking from their support and the power that we all have to make and a positive difference in this world. I want to thank the baseball writer for making me the first designated hitter in the history of Cooperstown to be selected in the first ballot. You guys got it going on. Thanks, guys. To Major League Baseball, for all the support you have given me throughout my professional career, I really appreciate it, MLB. Love you. This game is so important here in America and around the world. Thank you for all the support you have given baseball as a sport. So that is continue to be part of our culture and part of the heart of all the fans worldwide. Cooperstown. I would also like to thank the village of Cooperstown for opening your door to us, especially to the Hall of Fame. Jane, Josh, Chester, and Whitney, thank you very much for being able to have us here and treat my family and everyone else the right way. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank all the members of the Hall of Fame present today. My respect always to all of you. Thank you for being here. It's an amazing honor to be part of this elite group that you already are. My family, mis primos y hermanos, Albani Ortiz, Yacili, Eloy, Bambán, Robert, Manolo, ¿quién más me falta? Todos los tigres que son míos que andan por ahí. Ustedes saben que sin ustedes esto nunca hubiese pasado. Mi compadre Luis, ¿qué fue? No te voy a dejar fuera del paquete. Sabes que lo quiero mucho. Mis hijos de Angelo, Alex, Jesse, David. You guys know that without you guys, this would never happen. You guys were the engine that started this motor every day for me to get it going and keep on going. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being there for me always. Just like your mother, Tiffany Ortiz, wherever she at us right now. Thank you very much, Tiffany, for supporting me during my career. You are amazing. Thank you very much. Mi gente en la República Dominicana, ¿qué es lo que? La República Dominicana, mi tierra, wow. La tierra que me vio nacer. Muchas gracias. Gracias por su gente que me ha acogido siempre como uno de sus hijos favoritos y me ha brindado su apoyo paso tras paso a través de mi carrera. Gracias por su música que me ha llenado de vida, alegría, sabor todos los días. A los tigres del Clubhouse que estaban conmigo ahí desde cero. Gracias por aguantar mi tanda que yo le daba diaria a cada rato, por su comida, su buena vibra, por su alegría y por su espíritu de guerra que ha sido el mismo mío. Gracias siempre por ser Quiqueya la Bella. Nada comparado a eso. Presidente Luis Abinader, gracias por mandar la comitiva que está aquí apoyándonos hoy. Yo sé que usted es una persona muy ocupada y de mucho trabajo y que está tratando de mejorar lo que se llama nuestro país. Sé que no está aquí presente, pero gracias por mandar el grupo y su espíritu sé que está con nosotros aquí también. I want to thank the United States of America from the bottom of my heart as an American citizen who welcomed me with open arms since I was practically a child and giving me the opportunity to develop and fulfill all my dreams and then some more. Thank you very much, U.S. And to all of my American friends, consider this as an open invitation to visit my island, the Dominican Republic. Send a special place where we have a lot of good and happy people, beautiful beaches where you guys can go when you guys are freezing here. So show up in the Dominican. Before I was Big Papi, before the Red Sox, before the Twins, I was just a kid playing ball in the Dominican Republic. To all my coaches from winter ball, minor league, and the big league, I could not have done it without you. It was a guy named Ramon de los Santos, Pintacora La Uva, and Fernando Arguelle, who scouted me and signed me to the Mariners, to the Seattle Mariners when I was only 16 years old. They saw something in me, and they fought for it. Once I was in the United States, another gentleman named Jim Scotland, the Mariner minor league coordinator, make a huge impact on me. Also, Jim Beatty, who is also here somewhere, that's another guy who make a major impact on me as a player development director. And then there was a guy named Mike Goff, who was my manager, who taught me in our entire team so much. He always used to tell us, you have to go hard, can't take things for granted. He was hard on me, but I know it was coming from a good place. On the last day of the season, he told me, the reason why I was so hard on you is because out of all the players here, I think you are the one that can have an amazing career in the big league. Go and get it, big boy. Thank you, Mike. When I was traded to the Twins, there were two guys in the minor league system that helped me to build my confidence. John Russell, my manager in the First State League, and Al Newman, who was my manager in AA the same year that John Russell was my manager in the First State League. These two guys built up my confidence so much that I end up in the big league that year. I learned so many big things from them. These two guys were father figure and made me believe that they work with me every day. Because they believe in me, I wanted to show them that I could do it too. I also had to thank the Minnesota Twins for bringing me into the big league. Even that didn't work out the way everybody expected. I learned from my time there that once I get my shot in any other place, I was going to work hard to never let it go into the last day I play. To all of these year new Hall of Famer, I want to congratulate you. It's an honor to be in this stage with you. Mr. Tony Oliva, Mr. Gene Cott. Those guys always were around when I was with the Twins, giving us good advice. Congratulations to the two of you. And there is another Twins Hall of Famer that I got to know really well, and I'm missing so much, Mr. Kirby Puckett. He taught me so much about the game, and he gave me so many advice, and he was so wonderful to me that when I went to Boston, I started wearing his number 34. God bless you, Kirby, whatever God have you. Then the Red Sox. From Mr. John Henry to Linda Henry to Tom Werner to Larry Lucchino, Phil Morse, who was there, when I came to Boston, and of course, my man, Sam Kennedy. I can thank you guys enough for building me up and supporting me throughout the years. I also want to thank my man, John McCormick, who was the traveling secretary at the time while I played, and my little sis, Pan Kim. That organization made me the man that I am today. They educate me about the game, but they also educate me about my life. Community service, connecting with people, the Jimmy Fund, the Children Fund. That's why I started the David Ortiz Children Fund that have provided life-saving heart surgery for children in the Dominican Republic and New England. I want to thank everyone that worked so hard in my foundation to make this happen. All the stuff that as a player you get connected with, now that I'm not a player, I know what that means. The impact that we have, I know what that feels like now, to have someone supporting you at the hospital. There are a few people who make it possible for me to become a Red Sox. I gotta thank my man, Dave Giles, who watched me playing winter ball while he was the manager for the Licey in the Dominican Republic. And the minute the Red Sox call him, he shows up showing me some love right away. Thanks, Dave. I also wanna thank this guy right here, who you also know, number 45, mi compadre Pedro. Tengo que darle las gracias porque él ha sido para mí un hermano, un consejero, un abogado, hasta plomero ha sido mi compadre para mí. Mi compadre, lo amo con locura y yo me puedo pasar el día entero hablando de usted. I can talk about Pedro all day long. I'm gonna let go now. And my agent, Fernando, who has been with me since I was 17. Fernando, man, I can tell you no more, man. I can ask for no more. Combined with my man, Diego, who also was my agent at the time. You guys have been incredible. I love you guys. When I first came to Boston, I have a manager named Grady Little, who was the manager at the time. And my very first at bat against the Twins during spring training, I tried to move a runner over. And I thought when I got back to the dugout, everybody was gonna high five me. Everybody stay sit. And the manager put me to the side and told me, hey, big boy, I don't want you to bring them, I don't want you to be here to move them over. I want you to be here to bring them in. The rest is history. And then I was lucky enough to play for two guys named Terry Francona, who have at the time a guy named John Farrell as a pitching coach who took over as a manager. These guys, they did nothing but build my confidence, even through tough time. I love you guys, and I know I always gonna have you guys in my heart. Tito, whatever you are, man, you know Papi got you. John as well. To all my former teammates here today showing love, you gotta start with the Twins, man. Hall of Famer Paul Molitor, who taught me well when I was with the Twins. Troy Hawkins, Eddie Wardado, Cody Koski, Jack Jones, Torrey Horner, Matt Lawton, Brad Rackey, all those guys, man, got my back when I played for the Twins. I love you guys, man, from the bottom of my heart. And I also got teammates right here, Los Chicos Locos, Johnny Damon, Mikey Lowe, Dustin Pedroia, Track Nissen, Jason Varite, Tim Wakefield, Kevin Euclid, and of course, number 45. I want you guys to know that even with the God-given talent that I have, I don't think I would have made it without the support and love coming from all of you. All I was trying to do, it was bringing team together. That started with honesty and openness. My smaller teammate, where he at, Pedroia? Pee-wee grabbed me by the neck one time, and he told me, if you keep on pulling the ball, I'm gonna whoop you. And guess what? Big Papi got caught up on fire. My teammates always were there for me, and that's something that I always gonna appreciate. And in life, remember, our teammates are our second family. Love you guys, man, forever. Oh, hey, wait. I can forget about Jason Veritek. That man is serious. I love you, Cap. It's been almost 20 years since my first day in Boston. We have some incredible memories. When I think about Boston, I definitely think about 2004, 2007, and of course, 2013. After the city was shaken by a marathon bombing, I had never seen a community bounce back and reunite like Boston. When I think about Boston, I also think about the last game I played. Standing on that field at Fenway Park, it feels like the whole city of New England and each one and every one of you was surrounding me and was showing me all your love. I will always be Boston, and I will always be there for you, Boston. I love you, Boston. Mi mamá y mi papá fueron dos gente que a nosotros nos criaron con mucho esfuerzo. Mi mamá era una mujer joseadora, trabajadora, una mujer incansable que siempre quería darle a los hijos suyos lo mejor. Igual que papi. Papi siempre, sin poder, se fajaba con nosotros, conmigo y mis hermanas, a meter mano como sea. Tipo, a lo primero, el primer juguete que me regaló, me acuerdo que fue un bate y una pelota. Un guante y un bate. Y el guante era para uno que juegue sobre todo. Ya tú sabes la vuelta. No había guante zurdo por esos tiempos. Se sacrificó mucho para darnos lo mejor. Y lo más importante, siempre trató de enfocarnos en lo que se llama la educación. Papi y mami salían y hacían lo imposible para que yo y mi hermana tuviéramos una vida mejor que ellos. Y eso se lo agradeceré siempre en el alma. Cada vez que daba un jonrón, miraba hacia el cielo, solamente dedicándole todo a mi mamá, porque mami lo era todo para mí. Te amo, papi. Tú lo sabes. Te amo, mami, donde quiera que Dios te tenga. I always try to live my life in a way that support others, that make a positive influence in the world. And if my story can remind you of anything, let it remind you that when you believe in someone, you can change their world. You can change their future, just like so many people who believe in me. To everyone that believe in me, from my family to coaches to teammates to fans, no, I could not have done this without you. My Hall of Fame plaque represents each one of you. And I'm gonna thank you guys for the rest of my life. Thank you very much and God bless you all. Quiero a mi gente, lo amo, que viva la República Dominicana, Y lo veo en el party ahorita, en la cervecería, lo quiero mucho.
A very grateful David Ortiz as this massive crowd celebrates Big Papi as he is inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Mentioning so many people, and I just loved, Harold, the way he weaved in and out of English and Spanish.
Yeah, I think it's so important, especially in the time that we're in. But, you know, to my Latin brothers, you should never be ashamed of using your native tongue and delivering the message that you want to deliver. It was just great to be able to hear him.
that took the Red Sox from championship drought to 3 World Series titles in 10-year stretch. 8 times named top designated hitter while earning 10 All-Star selections. Drove in 100 or more runs in 10 seasons, leading American League 3 times. His 541 home runs, 632 doubles, and 1,768 RBI are all-time highs among designated hitters. Extra innings walk-off hits in games 4 and 5 of 2004 ALCS netted series MVP honors, set AL record for batting average, .688, en route to 2013 World Series MVP.
When you're this popular, there are so many people that love David, that know David personally, that are waiting to hear their name in this speech. Am I right?
Well, everybody here feels like he's their best friend. David's got that effect. The roars just echoed across the hillside here. What a moment.
We've been coming here for years, right? And the crowd is so big and full of David Ortiz fans. No disrespect to the other guys, but listen to what's going on behind us. He hasn't even started talking yet.
No, and you have your phone out recording like all the fans, Harold.
You got to grab the moment, Greg.
It is amazing.
Expecting this.
Well, this is the grand finale of the 2022 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We are live in Cooperstown, New York, and David Ortiz is about to address this massive crowd.
Voy a quitar los lentes. Wow! Cooperstown! Estamos aquí, mi gente! Before everything, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be here today and for giving me the joy of being able to travel this path that had allowed me to be here today and hopefully inspire everyone to believe in yourself. Thank you, dear God, for giving me the opportunity and the strength all this year to stay strong and keep my feet on the ground through ups and downs and all the sacrifices that I had to overcome to be able to be here with you today. Just like you guys know, I'm real. And I'm going to talk to you guys in English and Spanish, para que mi gente me entiendan. Todo eso viene del corazón. This is such an incredible day, an incredible honor, and I'm so humbled to be on this stage right now. The last 6 months, I received a special phone call to be elected to the Hall of Fame. I've been thinking about how I got here to this stage, Cooperstown, today. I've been thinking about my life, my career, and most of all, the people that believe in me. I've also been thinking about the lesson I've been taking from their support and the power that we all have to make and a positive difference in this world. I want to thank the baseball writer for making me the first designated hitter in the history of Cooperstown to be selected in the first ballot. You guys got it going on. Thanks, guys. To Major League Baseball, for all the support you have given me throughout my professional career, I really appreciate it, MLB. Love you. This game is so important here in America and around the world. Thank you for all the support you have given baseball as a sport. So that is continue to be part of our culture and part of the heart of all the fans worldwide. Cooperstown. I would also like to thank the village of Cooperstown for opening your door to us, especially to the Hall of Fame. Jane, Josh, Chester, and Whitney. Thank you very much for being able to have us here and treat my family and everyone else the right way. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank all the members of the Hall of Fame present today. My respect always to all of you. Thank you for being here. It's an amazing honor to be part of this elite group that you already are. My family, mis primos y hermanos, Albani Ortiz, Yacili, Eloy, Bambán, Robert, Manolo, ¿quién más me falta? Todos los tigres que son míos que andan por ahí. Ustedes saben que sin ustedes esto nunca hubiese pasado. Mi compadre Luis, ¿qué fue? No te voy a dejar fuera del paquete. Sabes que lo quiero mucho. Mis hijos de Angelo, Alex, Jesse, David. You guys know that without you guys, this would never happen. You guys were the engine that started this motor every day for me to get it going and keep on going. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being there for me always. Just like your mother, Tiffany Ortiz, wherever she at us right now. Thank you very much, Tiffany, for supporting me during my career. You are amazing. Thank you very much. Mi gente en la República Dominicana, ¿qué es lo que? La República Dominicana, mi tierra, wow. La tierra que me vio nacer. Muchas gracias. Gracias por su gente que me ha acogido siempre como uno de sus hijos favoritos y me ha brindado su apoyo paso tras paso a través de mi carrera. Gracias por su música que me ha llenado de vida, alegría, sabor todos los días. A los tigres del Clubhouse que estaban conmigo ahí desde cero. Gracias por aguantar mi tanda que yo le daba diaria a cada rato, por su comida, su buena vibra, por su alegría y por su espíritu de guerra, que ha sido el mismo mío. Gracias siempre por ser Quiqueya la Bella. Nada comparado a eso. Presidente Luis Abinader, gracias por mandar la comitiva que está aquí apoyándonos hoy. Yo sé que usted es una persona muy ocupada y de mucho trabajo y que está tratando de mejorar lo que se llama nuestro país. Sé que no está aquí presente, pero gracias por mandar el grupo y su espíritu, sé que está con nosotros aquí también. I want to thank the United States of America from the bottom of my heart as an American citizen who welcomed me with open arms since I was practically a child and giving me the opportunity to develop and fulfill all my dreams and then some more. Thank you very much, U.S. And to all of my American friends, consider this an open invitation to visit my island, the Dominican Republic. Send a special place where we have a lot of good and happy people, beautiful beaches where you guys can go when you guys are freezing here. So show up in the Dominican. Before I was Big Papi, before the Red Sox, before the Twins, I was just a kid playing ball in the Dominican Republic. To all my coaches from winter ball, minor league, and the big league, I could not have done it without you. It was a guy named Ramon de los Santos, Pintacora La Uva, and Fernando Arguelle, who scouted me and signed me to the Mariners, to the Seattle Mariners when I was only 16 years old. They saw something in me, and they fought for it. Once I was in the United States, another gentleman named Jim Scotland, the Mariner minor league coordinator, make a huge impact on me. Also, Jim Beatty, who is also here somewhere, that's another guy who make a major impact on me as a player development director. And then there was a guy named Mike Goff, who was my manager, who taught me and our entire team so much. He always used to tell us, you have to go hard, can't take things for granted. He was hard on me, but I know it was coming from a good place. On the last day of the season, he told me, the reason why I was so hard on you is because out of all the players here, I think you are the one that can have an amazing career in the big league. Go and get it, big boy. Thank you, Mike. When I was traded to the Twins, there were two guys in the minor league system that helped me to build my confidence. John Russell, my manager in the First State League, and Al Newman, who was my manager in AA the same year that John Russell was my manager in the first state league. These two guys built up my confidence so much that I end up in the big league that year. I learned so many big things from them. These two guys were father figure and made me believe that they work with me every day. Because they believe in me, I wanted to show them that I could do it too. I also had to thank the Minnesota Twins for bringing me into the big league. Even that didn't work out the way everybody expected. I learned from my time there that once I get my shot in any other place, I was going to work hard to never let it go into the last day I play. To all of these year new Hall of Famer, I want to congratulate you. It's an honor to be in this stage with you. Mr. Tony Oliva, Mr. Jim Cott. Those guys always were around when I was with the Twins, giving us good advice. Congratulations to the two of you. And there is another Twins Hall of Famer that I got to know really well, and I'm missing so much, Mr. Kirby Puckett. He taught me so much about the game, and I mean, he gave me so many advice, and he was so wonderful to me that when I went to Boston, I started wearing his number 34. God bless you, Kirby, whatever God have you. Then the Red Sox. From Mr. John Henry to Linda Henry to Tom Werner to Larry Lucchino, Phil Morse, who was there when I came to Boston, and of course, Mom. I can thank you guys enough for building me up and supporting me throughout the years. I also want to thank my man, John McCormick, who was the traveling secretary at the time while I played, and my little sis, Pam Kim. That organization made me the man that I am today. They educate me about the game, but they also educate me about my life. Community service, connecting with people, the Jimmy Fund, the Children Fund. That's why I started the David Ortiz Children Fund that have provided life-saving heart surgery for children in the Dominican Republic and New England. I want to thank everyone that worked so hard in my foundation to make this happen. All the stuff that as a player you get connected with, now that I'm not a player, I know what that means. The impact that we have, I know what that feels like now, to have someone supporting you at the hospital. There are a few people who make it possible for me to become a Red Sox. I gotta thank my man, Dave Giles, who watched me playing winter ball while he was the manager for the Licey in the Dominican Republic. And the minute the Red Sox call him, he shows up showing me some love right away. Thanks, Dave. I also wanna thank this guy right here, who you also know, number 45, mi compadre Pedro. Tengo que darle las gracias porque él ha sido para mí un hermano, un consejero, un abogado, hasta plomero ha sido mi compadre para mí. Mi compadre, lo amo con locura y yo me puedo pasar el día entero hablando de usted. I can talk about Pedro all day long. I'm gonna let go now. And my agent, Fernando, who has been with me since I was 17. Fernando, man, I can tell you no more, man. I can ask for no more. Combined with my man, Diego, who also was my agent at the time. You guys have been incredible. I love you guys. When I first came to Boston, I have a manager named Grady Little, who was the manager at the time. And my very first at bat against the Twins during spring training, I tried to move a runner over. And I thought when I got back to the dugout, everybody was gonna high-five me. Everybody stay sit. And the manager put me to the side and told me, hey, big boy, I don't want you to bring them, I don't want you to be here to move them over. I want you to be here to bring them in. The rest is history. And then I was lucky enough to play for two guys named Terry Francona, who have at the time a guy named John Farrell as a pitching coach who took over as a manager. These guys, they did nothing but build my confidence, even through tough time. I love you guys, and I know I always gonna have you guys in my heart. Tito, whatever you are, man, you know Papi got you. John as well. To all my former teammates here today showing love, I gotta start with the Twins, man. Hall of Famer Paul Molitor, who taught me well when I was with the Twins. Troy Hawkins, Eddie Wardado, Cody Koski, Jack Jones, Torrey Horner, Matt Lawton, Brad Rackey, all those guys, man, got my back when I played for the Twins. I love you guys, man, from the bottom of my heart. And I also got teammates right here, Los Chicos Locos, Johnny Damon, Mikey Lowe, Dustin Pedroia, Track Neeson, Jason Varite, Tim Wayfield, Kevin Euclid, and of course, number 45. I want you guys to know that even with the God-given talent that I have, I don't think I would have made it without the support and love coming from all of you. All I was trying to do, it was bringing team together. That started with honesty and openness. My smaller teammate, where he at, Pedroia? Pee-wee grabbed me by the neck one time, and he told me, if you keep on pulling the ball, I'm gonna whoop you. And guess what? Big Papi got caught up on fire. My teammates always were there for me, and that's something that I always gonna appreciate. And in life, remember, our teammates are our second family. Love you guys, man, forever. Oh, hey, wait. I can't forget about Jason Varitek. That man is serious. I love you, Cap. It's been almost 20 years since my first day in Boston. We have some incredible memories. When I think about Boston, I definitely think about 2004, 2007, and of course, 2013. After the city was shaken by a marathon bombing, I had never seen a community bounce back and reunite like Boston. When I think about Boston, I also think about the last game I played. Standing on that field at Fenway Park, it feels like the whole city of New England and each one and every one of you was surrounding me and was showing me all your love. I will always be Boston, and I will always be there for you, Boston. I love you, Boston. Mi mamá y mi papá fueron dos gente que a nosotros nos criaron con mucho esfuerzo. Mi mamá era una mujer joseadora, trabajadora. When I think about Boston, I definitely think about 2004, 2007, and of course, 2013. After the city was shaken by a marathon bombing, I had never seen a community bounce back and reunite like Boston. When I think about Boston, I also think about the last game I played. Standing on that field at Fenway Park, it feels like the whole city of New England and each one and every one of you was surrounding me and was showing me all your love. I will always be Boston, and I will always be there for you, Boston. I love you, Boston. Mi mamá y mi papá fueron dos gente que a nosotros nos criaron con mucho esfuerzo. Mi mamá Era una mujer joseadora, trabajadora, una mujer incansable que siempre quería darle a los hijos suyos lo mejor. Igual que papi. Papi siempre, sin poder, se fajaba con nosotros, conmigo y mis hermanas, a meter mano como sea. Tipo, a lo primero, el primer juguete que me regaló, me acuerdo que fue un bate y una pelota. Un guante y un bate. Y el guante era para uno que juegue sobre todo, ya tú sabes la vuelta. No había guante zurdo por esos tiempos. Se sacrificó mucho para darnos lo mejor y lo más importante, siempre trató de enfocarnos en lo que se llama la educación. Papi y mami salían y hacían lo imposible para que yo y mi hermana tuviéramos una vida mejor que ellos. Y eso se lo agradeceré siempre en el alma. Cada vez que daba un jonrón miraba hacia el cielo, solamente dedicándole todo a mi mamá, porque mami lo era todo para mí. Te amo, papi, tú lo sabes. Te amo, mami, donde quiera que Dios te tenga. I always try to live my life in a way that support others, that make a positive influence in the world. And if my story can remind you of anything, let it remind you that when you believe in someone, you can change their world. You can change their future. Just like so many people who believe in me. To everyone that believe in me, from my family to coaches to teammates to fans, no, I could not have done this without you. My Hall of Fame plaque represents each one of you. And I'm gonna thank you guys for the rest of my life. Thank you very much and God bless you all. Quiero a mi gente, lo amo, que viva la República Dominicana, Y lo veo en el party ahorita, en la cervecería, lo quiero mucho.
A very grateful David Ortiz.